Hello everybody, SpiritGaming here, and welcome to my complete guide for the Tide of the Gods event. Of course, in this video there are gonna be many topics which you might want to hear out, but for the ones that already know everything about the mode, there is gonna be a tips and tricks section at the end of the video, so if you already know the beginner stuff and everything like that, then go ahead and skip to that point, but for the other players, listen up, and this is my guide on the Tide of the Gods event. So, what is the Tide of the Gods event? It's 18 versus 18 player MOBA game mode, similar to Mobile Legends or League of Legends. So, there are 5 things you need to worry about in this mode. Players, both enemy and ally players, bosses and mini bosses, robots, towers, and the core. The core is literally your nexus if you have played League of Legends. It's what you destroy to win the game. Or if your core gets destroyed, then you lose the game anyways. So now let's take a look at the map. You can see 6 dots, 2 dragon heads, 12 towers, and 2 cores. The dots are mini bosses, dragon heads are bosses, 6 green towers are your ally towers, 6 red towers are your enemy towers, green core is your ally's core, or your own core, red core is the enemy core. So, depending on which side you spawn on, you will need to destroy the opposite core, right? The winning condition is to destroy the core or just to win by the timer ending, and whoever had the more HP on the core wins. Now, why are all of the other things so important, right? Well, it's true that you can go down in one lane and beat down the Nexus or the core as fast as you possibly can, but then again, that is kind of impossible. Even if all 16 of you go in, I guess 18 of you go in, it's still gonna be impossible, right? Why is that? Well, you cannot have more than one allied or enemy robot on each lane for both teams, and after you kill a robot or your own robot gets destroyed, then I'm pretty sure it will, yeah, you will have to wait around 30 seconds for a new one to spawn. But the thing is that if your own robot is not close to the enemy towers have a shield, and they will literally two-shot any one of you guys that it's gonna target, so you will have to wait for the robot to respawn to push, and you cannot push without the robot near the enemy towers, which is very important to know. Also, the more towers you destroy, the better the robot will be per lane. So if you destroy, let's say, a robot on mid lane, only the robots on mid lane will get a buff. However, if you destroy the side lane, let's say top lane, the other 2 lanes won't get a buff either. So the robots basically evolve in each lane, just like the pet Adam does. You guys all know the pet, probably you have all maxed it to, yeah, you have probably evolved it to max, so that's literally it. But now you're still wondering, what do the bosses and mini bosses do that I mentioned? So I will show you what every single boss does and what kind of buff it gives. So mini bosses give a buff to the player that has killed them, and there are 3 kinds of mini bosses on both sides, so a total of 6 mini bosses, but 3 of them have the same exact thing they do. So the fire golem gives 15,000 attack to the player that has killed him, so both magical attack and physical attack. The mud golem gives a shield that absorbs up to 2 million HP to the player that has killed him, and then at the end we have the emerald golem, which gives 11,000 defense, but to that player that has killed him only. So, and also a very important thing is that the boss lasts for 20 minutes or until you actually die, and you are the only one that's gonna get the buff. The player who has killed the golem will get the buff, not the rest of the players. But then again, what do dragons do now? First of all, they spawn every 5 minutes. One is fire and the other is ice dragon, giving different buffs, but not to just the player who has killed him, but to all of the 18 players in a team. So focus on it as a team and you will be good. But it's safe to say whoever gets the first dragons wins, because even a free-to-play player can become a whale with the buffs that I'm gonna list right now. So the first time the dragon spawns, he always spawns on the bottom side of the map, and it's always the ice dragon. So what does the ice dragon give? It literally gives to the whole team, keep in mind to the whole team, it gives attack, cooldown reduction, multi-strike, by 30%. So increases your attack, cooldown reduction, multi-strike by 30%. That's literally insane. And then the Fire Dragon gives the whole team an increase of 20% for attack, crit level, and AP. Again, those are huge numbers, especially cooldown reduction, which I'm gonna talk about in the tips and tricks section. So yes, as I said, these buffs are gonna make a free-to-play player do some work, and yeah, that's pretty much it about the guide, guys. Now I will talk about some tips and tricks and leave you guys with some nice music and my gameplay of the video, I would say. So tips and tricks. If you are a Blade Master, Soul Dancer, Sight, focus a lot more on the PvP, while if you're Gunslinger, Fighter or Assassin, focus more on taking the buffs for your team, and especially get Ice Dragon since it will make everyone's cooldowns low, especially Soul Dancer and Blade Master will benefit from it, as well as Fighters, I would say. A lot, like way more than the other classes, because Blade Master then will have around 17 seconds cooldown on Void, which is insane. And if you're a Blade Master, don't run Wind and Moon, because if you get the Ice Dragon, you don't need that. Skill, I would say, that talent. And then Soul Dancer has Mimir Spring spam every time the Soul Dancer uses the Light Beacon EX ability, without even having to use Vortex or anything like that. Now you're wondering, how does a Soul Dancer have Mimic Spring every time he uses it, right? It has a 2-minute cooldown. Well, then you can do a thing or two to counter that. So each time you spam your abilities, you want to die on purpose, and when you die, the 2-minute debuff will go away. So you can literally just go every single minute, you can go into the enemies, spam your Mimir Spring or your Time Lock, I would say, Azure, whatever you want, spam it, die on purpose, like go into an enemy tower or whatever you want to do, revive, and then by the time you go back to the enemy's base or your base, depending on who pushes first, you will literally have your Light Beacon up again and your Mimic Spring buff again. So that is one way to go for it, and it's gonna be very awesome. Now, another tip and trick is, if you see a whale, let him have the golden buffs, since he can probably 1v10 people with those buffs. So yeah, as I said, if you see that the player is doing way too much damage, he glows like crazy, like he has all of these sets and stuff like that, like he has maximum enhancements, maximum like cores and stuff like that, then let him have those buffs, don't argue with him or anything like that. So yeah. Next up, focus on defending just as much as you focus on attacking, right guys? It is a MOBA game mode, so if you have played any other MOBA game modes or any MOBA games, you know how to manage spawns, pushing lanes, and so on and so forth. But one of the most important things is to care about your teammates, not just for yourself. And also in this mode, you cannot really carry your teammates like you can do in MOBAs, but you can basically help each other out and do good stuff. And yeah guys, that is pretty much it about the guide. Hope you liked it. Yeah, literally liked it, down in the, I guess, around the description and around the subscribe button, which leads me to my next point. Subscribe for more Dragon content and guides and news and even streams. And until next time guys, I will leave you with the rest of the gameplay for around 2 minutes or something like that. Like the end will be kind of interesting. And yeah, thank you so much for watching guys. Until next time, bye bye.
edge of space, calling us to fly away. Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I, jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die, so come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we're making through. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. We're rising, we're falling, we're making through. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Something's gonna bring the change, journeys we are meant to take. Something at the edge of space.